What is going on, everybody? It is your sweet boy, Long Socks Noob here. If you guys haven't seen it yet, these are the socks we did with Society Socks. You got a sweet little gear selector indicator right there, gear, little brake lever right there on the other leg. Pretty sweet. Go check them out in the link in the description below. Today, we are doing a little bit of work to the RC390. Got a couple key modifications we're gonna do to it. Take it out on the road, ride it for a little bit, have some fun with it. But let's jump into it today. So if you guys don't know, this is our beginner bike giveaway series. So this is the new bike we're working on. We just shipped out our FZ07, which is really dope. But this is our new 2017, literally new. This has like 200 miles on it or something. KTM RC390. If you want to learn how you can win this motorcycle for free, hit the link in the description below. We are going to be giving this away to someone very, very lucky in July. So we will definitely check that out. But today, let's look at the parts we're working with. So we got a couple modifications planned for today. We've got this Fender Eliminator Kit by Puig, don't know how to say that. Should be a pretty simple install. Really love the look of this. Really clean looking. Should definitely clean up our rear section over there. The second thing we've got is, as always, tank grips. If you guys don't know, I am a possibly just like a militantly aggressive user of tank grips. I think they should come standard on most bikes, to be honest. Very cool. And then of course we have just a little bit of front fork cross protection. These are just going to slide right into the front here on the forks and just provide us a little bit of protection in case it goes down at the track or on the street for our new winter. So let's get started. So first up, we're going to be putting on the tank grips because I am lazy and it's going to be super simple to put them on. So let's do it. To the uninitiated, tank grips are a very useful thing you can put on a bike that allow you to grip the tank a little bit better when you're riding, as the name would entail. I find, man, I got a cough today. I find that most motorcycles come with very slippery gas tanks, obviously because they are, you know, painted, right? So you're going to be sliding off of them. So it's really important to get yourself a nice set of tank grips on there. These look like they're going to fit like this, I want to say, right? Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be like that. I don't think it can fit any other way. It's definitely not like that. So we're putting it right there. I think we're going to cover up the white bit so it doesn't look, well, I think keeping a little bit of the white bit might look cool, but then we can kind of scooch it over here. I don't really know what these other two pieces are for, because you never really come in contact with this. I think this might be a kit for the Duke, but it works for the RC. It says KTM RC390, but this very clearly looks like a Duke on here, which I want to put the thing right up there. Very clearly, this one's for the middle section, obviously. That's okay, that gives you a little bit of room right there, but I don't really know what these other two are for. We don't really need them, to be honest, because yeah, the only part we're really coming into contact with is this right here, nothing right here, so we're gonna skip the other two pieces. Let's do it. So a quick status update. It appears that our front fork sliders, I mean, they say that it's for the RC390 here on the back. They say RNG front axle sliders for the KTM. The front says it's a KTM 125 for the Duke. Either way, this isn't going to slide through our front fork here because the other side of it is not, you can't slide into it. So I don't really know what we're going to do here. I guess we got to find another part. So the issue we're having with this here is, if you look right here, this is a solid bolt right here. There's no hole here on this side to slide in the axle sliders, so you can't slide it in over here. So I don't really know. Maybe this is the newly updated RC390 and they changed this or something, but this part obviously does not fit on here. It actually doesn't fit on the other side as well. I'll show you guys. So even this side over here where you see a tiny little hole, you're like, oh sure, maybe it could fit there, but it actually doesn't fit here as well. So not really sure, well, that's okay. Not really sure what's going on with this part, but we got to keep it rolling here. So I am unfurling the Fender Eliminator Kit, and look at this. Look how nice that is, man. This is some primo stuff. Pooj or Pug did not sponsor this video. We just went and bought this part because it is just very nice. And yeah, let's get to installing it, man. Let's read some instructions and get to it. Okay, the first order of business is to actually remove this piece and the rear tail section. This is gonna be pretty simple. There seems to be just a couple bolts right here holding this in place, and then we just need to reroute these lights into the new one and kind of go from there. I think it's pretty simple. Unfortunately, the Pooj installation is pretty unclear, and it's also in German, so that's a bit tough. Yeah, it doesn't really explain a whole lot, so we're just gonna have to kind of wing it. Let's do it. So the seat comes off this way. That's pretty simple. All right, guys, we got the tail tidy installed on the bike. We got the tank grips on there. Front fork sliders, for some reason, I think there was like the wrong part or something, didn't really fit. Today, I'm also going to pop off the rear passenger pegs because, to be honest, no one's ever really gonna be riding this thing with me. So yeah, let's pop those off and then let's take it out for a little spin. I find the KTM really simple to work on. The tail tidy was actually super easy to pop off. It looks like the bike was designed to be quickly kind of torn apart and torn down, probably due to the fact that it is a bit of a little race bike. So hats off to KTM engineering. I find it really easy to work on this motorcycle, more so than some of the Japanese bikes I've worked on. So yeah, really enjoying it. All right, boys, what's going on? We're on the bike now, finally, after installing the new tail tidy and our tank grips. If you guys remember in the garage, I mentioned that the tank grips, I didn't know why they had the extra little bit, and I was like, oh, this seems to be enough. But after riding up here, I realized that my knees actually come down all the way to this little portion here, so we're gonna have to put the rest of the tank grips on there. But the tail tidy is looking really solid. I'm very, very happy with this install. Looking pretty good so far. So what I wanted to do actually was get out on the road and talk a little bit about what I don't really love about the KTM RC390. I've had the bike for about I think 2 weeks now. I've put on a little over 241 kilometers on it because it's still in kilometers. I haven't changed it out, and just wanted to chat about that. Whoa, my peripherals caught the bike shifting. That was weird. Just wanted to chat about that. I think that'd be pretty fun. Kind of a good way to wrap up the episode, just because, you know, installing a tail tidy and putting on some tank grips is not the be-all, end-all of an episode. So let's do that. Let's go get some gas, and then let's keep going. So one thing I've already noticed about this bike is there's a really loud fan that comes on whenever you're riding it around. I assume it's because we're living in some pretty warm climates here, but I don't know if you guys can actually hear that. Here, I'll try to stop and let you listen to that. Can you hear that? It's a crazy loud fan situation happening with the RC. Not the end of the world, but it is kind of annoying though, I think. The other thing I've noticed too, and this might be an adjustment that I need to do for myself because my fingers might be a little too long or too short, I'm not really sure, but there's been quite a few times where I'm just sitting in traffic and I just have the I'm just sitting there with the clutch pulled in and I'm pulling on the throttle a little bit, and my God, this guy's going slow. And I've actually found that the bike tends to die for some reason. I think it's because the bite point is right about there, and when you rev it, I think it drops the revs and it just ends up stalling. So it's really funny. I've actually stole the bike out a few times in traffic.
we're gonna stop by and get some gas with a little RC and keep chatting about it. Yeah, I think the other really cool thing was whenever we installed this tail tidy is it actually ended up really reducing a little bit of weight. I didn't realize that the stock tail section on this motorcycle was like a solid piece of metal. Like, I ended up taking it off and it's quite heavy. I would say it weighs at least 10 pounds. It's pretty heavy. So we definitely lightened up the rear end of the bike with this tail tidy. I mean, it's a negligible amount, maybe a 5 pound difference or something like that. But it is pretty cool that we were able to lighten the load a little bit, which I always love a good weight saving mod. I went to go take off the rear passenger pegs, and I realized the one on the right needs to be some type of hanger situation for us to actually get it on there properly. Oh, this little bike is so fun though. It looks so fun. Nice and tight in corners, man. This is like the most like inappropriate motorcycle for Texas streets, I would say. Given the fact that it is such a small bike and so light and flickable, it just ends up being like too small for the streets we have here. The other big complaint, obviously, about the RC390 is its tiny gas tank, man. I think this thing only has like a 2.2 gallon fuel tank, 2.6, something like that. I feel like I have to stop by a gas station every 3 seconds. So even though I get that it's like a little race machine, I get it's a little super sport bike. I mean, the Ninja 400 for its pretty mediocre, and as much as I don't like it very much, does have a much larger fuel tank and only weighs, I think, 2 pounds more than this bike. So not really an excuse for the bike to have such a tiny fuel tank, but also not the end of the world. You gotta remember too, for the application you're trying to use for the bike as well, if you're out on track with it, it's not really necessary to have a super big fuel tank. You can come in after the sessions and refuel, so not a huge deal. Yeah, this bike is just like, it's died a couple times. I mean, it's like a little hard to start. Kind of interesting, KTM. I owned a Triumph, a few years back, and so I'm pretty used to that Euro bike life. It's really no big deal. You just have to remember that European motorcycles, they just have a little more quirks than your average run-of-the-mill Japanese bike of the same class. My FZ07 had literally none of these quirks, but that's okay. The little RC is still a great bike. It never fails to amaze me when I'm on this thing just how tiny and flickable it is, man. Like, you sit with it in traffic and the weight between your legs is so little that it's a little hard to believe, actually. I'm gonna get more over here because this dude is out the middle over here. So as you notice here, I'm just sitting in traffic. Look how easy it is to just shuffle this bike around. It's so small and light. It's really, I mean, it's the first thing you notice when you jump on it, for sure. Yeah, but I was saying in the gas station, like, I gotta be honest, it's not as fun riding this bike in a place like this. If you live in a place that has twistier roads, you're gonna have a way better time with the RC390. But here in lovely North Dallas, it's pretty boring. Pretty boring. You have to really work for it. It just feels really out of place here. But it's all good because I'm moving down to Austin here in a little bit, so that's okay. This bike has a really interesting quality, just like the Daytona had, where because the ergonomics are really committed, you kind of always want to ride it fast. I've caught myself going a little bit too quick on some of these streets here because you end up just like, everything feels so slow on this bike. And it's funny because I thought that was, I'm just going to run this. I thought that was a trait of, bigger displacement bikes. But really, I mean, this thing, for whatever reason, has such an effervescent little quality to it that you kind of just want to rev it all the time. Really enjoying these tank grips, though. We got to get the other little piece down here so we can get full knee contact action on it. It's funny that one piece, I was like, oh, where's it supposed to go? And it turns out it's supposed to go right there on the tank, so it makes it kind of silly, but we still have a good feeling right here with this part of the tank. This motorcycle has an interesting, like, two-stage kind of fairing gas tank situation. There's not really a clear indication of where your legs are supposed to go. I think I'm also a little bit too tall for it because my knees end up touching right at the bottom of this fairing here, right down there. And but if I scoop back, I fit right here in the cutout for the tank, so I'm not really sure where my knees are supposed to go on it, but that might just be due to the fact that I might not fit exactly perfectly on this bike, which is okay. Not every bike is made for you to exist perfectly on it. It is a beautiful day here in Dallas. I guess Frisco is where we are right now. It's like 75, sunny, no wind. This is literally perfect motorcycle weather. You see a lot of guys out on bikes right now. Yeah, it has this quality of like, you always feel like you're going so slow on this bike. It feels like you can't possibly push it hard enough. That's why I think it really belongs at home on a track. It's really different than other 300cc / small displacement beginner bikes of its class. It's completely different than the R3, really different than the Ninja 300 that I rode. It is just, it's really different. I mean, the power is really similar. Like it feels really similar, but the way that it kind of feels is so different. This feels like everything I wanted my R3 to be in a way. Like the lower clip-ons, the stiffer suspension, the proper tires on it. It's just cool that you get it right out of the box with this thing. Behind a motorcycle cloud. You know, I've always wondered why they squid. That is interesting, isn't it? Is this a motorcycle cop? I think, I'm pretty sure it is. I think so. It's got an interesting blue paint scheme on it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a cop. That's a really weird bike for a cop to have, though. I think the other thing I really enjoy about the KTM is how simple it feels. Because it's a single cylinder, because it's so light, and I just took apart the tail tidy today. This motorcycle is set up really well. It's really well designed and really well engineered for people who like to tinker and people who like to modify and kind of make it into a race bike. I really enjoy that, actually. It feels exceptionally well built, I will say, except for a couple weird quirks, man, like the fan and the kickstand. There's a couple things on this bike you're like, why is it like this? But every bike kind of has quirks like that. It just seems like European motorcycles have more than others. So let's pop in here in this random neighborhood and get a little gander at our bike really quick, and then we'll call this episode a day. Let's get a gander at it really quick. The tail tidy in the sun. That is looking good, man. Yeah, so I was saying about the hanger. Yeah, so what I was saying about the passenger peg. So we're going to remove this rear one here. So that looks really nice. Really cleans up the tail side. But we're going to have to get a hanger for this piece right here. Because it actually attaches the exhaust back here. So we got to get... I know they sell them. I've seen them before. But yeah, really pleased with this bike. Happy to have the new tail tidy on there. Some tank grips. We're going to get the other ones stuck around in there so our knees actually make contact with it. But yeah, looking pretty good. Thanks again for watching, guys. Of course, feel free to hit the link in the description below to learn how you can win this motorcycle. We will be giving it away, I think July 11th is what I put on there. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And I'll catch you guys next time. See you later.